we're coming at you with double episodes every single day here on VCTV because we are at the end of the year push. We talk about it here every single day on VCTV, and we're going to continue to talk about it as we round out into fourth quarter. And these are the most important months of the year if you are an entrepreneur building your company. This is the time when you're out there fundraising. This is the time you're out there launching new products. Consumers are frothing to get their hands on the latest and greatest, whether it's your service or your product. This is your time. And investors, we know it's your time as well, whether it's you raising your first fund, your second fund, your third fund, your next fund, or you're looking to deploy capital into some of the greatest technology and companies out there. We here on VCTV bring the best and the brightest from around the world to talk to you all about the latest in technology, industry, and regions around the world so that you can stay up to date, know what you need to know, and make the decisions to make a great, successful life ahead of you as well. And with that, today we're going to be diving into a very exciting topic and one that's very top of mind here in Q3, looking towards Q4. That's construction, property, and real estate tech. As we were just talking pre-show, we're already seeing numbers from the housing markets here in the United States that are in the double digits. More growth than ever expected here in 2020. Some of that due to the Corona-19 virus that we had start earlier in the year, people moving from one city to another, or in some cases, the de-urbanization, the urbanization, if you will, people going from cities to the suburbs and vice versa, a little bit of shifts and changes that we weren't expecting to see just quite yet. But nonetheless, we've got great technology that has been powering these moves, whether that's from the viewing, whether that's from the transaction and the development as well. And we're going to be talking about all of that and where the opportunities are with our guest investors today. And with that, a big thank you to you, our audience, for tuning in today. If you're an investor and you'd like to be on a show like today, do reach out. We'd love to have you share your thoughts and insights about technologies, industries, and regions around the world here with us. So reach out to the LATOKEN team and or myself, and we'll find the right episode for you. And entrepreneurs, I said this in the beginning, this is the sprint to the end of the year, the most important time of the year for your business. Well, we've got a stage for you. There's a virtual stage here on VCTV that you can get up on and pitch us investors or to our live entire audience. And we'll help find the right set of investors and industry for you to make sure it's relevant. So do reach out if you're interested. And with that, actually, one more thing. I almost forgot. A big thank you to the LATOKEN team. We're making VCTV possible every single day. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Let's go ahead and dive in, introducing each of our guests to talk about construction, property, and real estate technology and where things are going. Bruno, welcome to the show. First time guests with me here on VCTV. If you can, a little intro, a little background.
Hi, Kyle. Thank you for having me. It's a huge pleasure to be here sharing our experience in the Proptech industry. I'm based in Brazil, in the south of Brazil. I'm a managing partner of Terracotta Ventures. Terracotta Ventures is a venture capital firm focused exclusively on construction and real estate tech for Latin America market. So since 2016, I've been working with investments in this vertical industry. We can see a huge and impressive growth in the number of companies trying to innovate and digitalize the construction and real estate value chain. And basically, we are looking for the most promising startups trying to increase the level of productivity in this market, and very important market, but I think it's a very conservative market as well. So we can see many opportunities. Basically, we can see in America Latina the same phenomenon we have seen in Europe and US around the Proptech space. So I think this crisis is another great opportunity to accelerate changes, accelerate innovation, and we want to participate in this process.
Absolutely. And what stage do you generally focus at as well, since it's the first time here? Can you tell us a little bit more about the fund? What stage, what range do you usually invest in as well?
Basically, we are focused on early stage startups, seed and Series A rounds. We want to co-invest with interesting VC funds from Brazil or from abroad. We also want to invest part our fund and in companies interest to expand the business to Latin America, helping them in this process, but always focus on the vertical industry.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. And to our audience, heads up, you've got a great investor here who's focused on this industry, focused on Latin America. Pay attention. More to come on that. Arena, welcome back. It's a pleasure to see you as we get a chance to here on Every Day on VCTV. A little intro and a little background from you.
It's so great to be back. I started my day this morning at 6:30. I woke up and quickly got ready to be on Singapore. VCTV. It's such a great. I feel like it's so awesome because I get to wake up and the day already has passed forward, right? So there's something about expanding that time and space continuum. And it's still dark outside. I could see rooster cockadoodling, and being able to wake up and be part of these discussions is just amazing. So pleasure to be back. My name is Irina Litchfield. Many know me as a crypto superwoman. I'm founder of Blockchain Cubed, which is blockchain integration technology advisory and firm, really. We do high-level infrastructure design, basically. So, and then I'm also president of Lumeria, and Lumeria is where capital meets innovations. The companies I work with for now are primarily kind of older stage, C plus round. However, there's a huge dislocation actually and mislabeling in between the different industries that we're experiencing. So I'm dropping the whole thing of what it means to be, angel seed A, B, C, D, because again, in a space industry, it means something completely different when we talk about different labels and in many different industries as well. So basically scaling plus company, my goal and the goal of my network and people that I work with is to really bring back small market cap and democratize investments and democratize opportunities for entrepreneurs and for investors as well. And property technology and construction technology and real estate technology, I think it's really dear to most of people because in the end of the day, we live in the houses, we have farms, some of us, right? We kind of look at, the real estate, the land, the building. These are very core fundamentals to who we are. And I think it's really important that we talk about what is this construction technologies are, what are the innovations, what are the opportunities for real estate as well, because not many people, most of people in the world are not fortunate to have a real estate, right? And so how can we democratize those opportunities as well for them? How people can not just only own the houses, but maybe have some kind of a investment opportunities from real estate and construction development.
Wonderful. Well, welcome back to the show and welcome to you both. There's a lot to talk about here as we kicked off the show with. And Bruno, I want to start with you. I mean, what are you seeing as the current state of these three areas from construction to property to real estate tech on a macro level? And then I want to drive a little deeper into what's happening in Latin America as well. But to start off, Bruno, what are you seeing as the current state of these three industries?
I think we are living a singular moment for construction and Proptech scene in the whole world. We can see a great number of entrepreneurs looking for the opportunities in this market. We can see a huge increase in the level of investments, the venture capital investments in construction real estate tech companies. We can see an increase in the number of transactions in the M&A market. I think all of those movements are very important to accelerate the level of digitalization in traditional companies. So basically, what we have seen in US and in Europe since 2010, 2011, we started to see the same in emergent markets such as Brazil or Israel or Mexico, Singapore, and others important real estate markets in the globe. So I think we are living this phase, so we have to take advantage of this. We have to learn with the experience from another ecosystems, and we want to identify what kind of opportunities can be replicated in different markets. So mostly of the most success business in US and Europe can be replicated in emerging markets as well. So I think it's a great opportunity for investors, a great opportunity for entrepreneurs, and also a great opportunity for professionals and executives from traditional companies who want to enhance the level of productivity, the level of innovation in their business.
And what's happening in Latin America? I mean, in terms of the opportunity, you're absolutely right. It's big, it's vast, but what's happening in Latin America around these? Are you starting to see certain types of companies? You know, have you guys made certain types of investments? What's happening, if we can, in Latin America around these three industries?
Well, in 2017, we had 250 companies innovating in this industry in Latin America. And this year, we identify more than 700 companies, active companies, running innovative business. So it's very impressive the growth in this industry. And this is a symbol of how the innovation space are getting attention from the leadership of great companies. We also can see how important now the events and content platforms are trying to approach to this subject. So basically in Latin America now we have unicorns in this space, and we have two big unicorns, Loft and Quintondar. Loft basically an iBuyer model, a buyer player running business in Latin America, Brazil, and Mexico. Quintondar is a rental platform for the residential market. We also started to see the biggest venture capital funds putting money in those Latin America Proptech and construction tech companies. So we have SoftBank, we have General Atlantic, we have Qualcomm Ventures, we have A16Z. All of them are investing in Proptech and construction tech companies here. We also have seen a huge and impressive increase in the level of investments, the total amount of investments. So 3 years ago, basically the total investments here in Latin America in this space was something around $100 million. And last year we had $500 million. And this year we already have $300 million until beginning of August. So probably we are hitting the same level of last year, even with this situation of Corona crisis, all during the impacts. So we basically can see all the most relevant construction general contractors, developers, brokers, companies investing in innovation in different ways. M&A partnerships, open innovation programs, acceleration programs, corporate venture capital movements. So I'm sure that we are living a very strong moment here in the construction tech and prop tech scene.
So there's quite a bit of activity. I mean, you're talking about almost $500 million moving on towards $1 billion US that's been invested in this space. This is amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we're going to come back to that in just a moment. Irina, I want to come to you. What are you seeing as the current state of these three industries? I know you're coming at it from a little bit probably of the blockchain, but also the deep tech and also space, because these three industries relate to those. But would love to hear your views as to what you're seeing as the current state of these industries.
Yeah, interesting. Current state of these industries. To me, first of all, when I think about construction, what we are seeing is an innovative way of doing new type of a construction that allows us to maybe reuse materials. The printing of the buildings, I think, is really, really interesting. And there are some innovation companies that are actually pushing forward the boundaries of what it means to build and then to recycle as well. And that regenerative, the regenerative ecosystem within construction, I believe, is one of the most disruptive kind of opportunities that an investor can find and entrepreneurs should go forward to. One of the fast and easy subjects and growth opportunities in the construction, to me, I'm seeing in kind of two areas. One, of course, a design of new venues that are allowing us to take into account new standards of interacting. And those are coming online quite fast. And while traction for them before March this year was maybe outreaching, now there's a lot of money that's being poured into it and a lot of interesting things are being built, as well as a construction, because I think construction, we must think about building new, but as well also what do we do with what we have. And we're seeing a lot of interesting dynamics and saying, okay, now we have a mall, how do we deal with that? What do we do? People are not they're not interested to go in. So how do we convert it into something that actually is providing a lot of revenue? And so that's where I'm seeing construction also happen. It's on micro level, obviously, because those are micro projects comparing to big. Then of course we move into property, and the property, I think it's so amazing that we're seeing huge shifts, right? So while some values of property are completely collapsing in the areas where maybe there's a huge density of life. In other areas, we're seeing huge rapid growth of 30-40% in a matter of months, right? And I mean, the listings are just flying from so many of these regions, and to me that's really interesting because it kind of shows us where we are moving as a societies and what things we value now, right? So having a couple chickens now, it's kind of like a cool thing. And so when we design this eco-friendly spaces for us, how do we actually get to have 2-3 chickens in the backyard to where it recycles? So, and then of course real estate, and I mean, when it comes to real estate, I think that's when we must mention blockchain. We haven't seen it take that traction that it should have, but we will. And we did see it kind of come online, and we saw an interesting offers happen and some bundling, and it made a lot of sense in 2018. But I think that it was kind of a little bit late, and the inertia of the nature of the cycle that for blockchain industry, that it was actually going down, I think it kind of didn't really take on. So I'm foreseeing in the next near future some of the interesting opportunities coming in through kind of a real estate offerings, through some bundling and unbundling and all that. So I believe that those covers the whole industry pretty well. And of course, space industry plays a huge role in what we're seeing in construction and real estate right now. Why? Because a lot of these companies that were providing solutions and saying, okay, we will build for space station, the ecosystem, or maybe for the moon, what is that modular house looks like. Now they realize, oh, actually that doesn't really work for us because there's not enough funding. And so they pivoting into saying, I actually can design this house for you and your family where nothing can get you, right? So I'll touch up on that real quick. One of the things that that our homes are, they're, if the air becomes poisonous for a little bit of time or whatever, we're not preventable. It can enter into our houses, right? So and the designs that come from space, they design in such a way that it can be recyclable internally. So kind of if the apocalypse happens, like a lot of people fear, you know, they have ability to be able to have food and water and clean air without really having to go out and have protocols to be able to enter in and out. Now, look, I don't think the end of the world is coming. We don't need it, but this pushes forward the innovation of how do we think about the future, and then allows us to, you know, maybe preserve our nature and preserve energy, because if you're recycling all that, maybe there's not all this escaping of the air going back and forth when you're cooling off your house or heating it off. In Texas, it can go from like Celsius 0 degrees, right, to 25 in the winter. So that means at night you're turning off the AC. I mean, you're turning on the heater, and during day you're running AC. It's ridiculous, you know.
It's crazy out there, and I think you're bringing up a few great points in that. Is, you know, when it comes to blockchain technology, construction is still an area where we're trying to figure out within the landscape. There's a few good projects out there. I'll give credit to that, having researched it, but it's still a very big area of opportunity, right? And if you start to unbundle that, excuse me, you start to look at the areas of supply chain and logistics. You look at the streamlining of invoicing and back office, but then you look at real estate. And the real estate you brought up from the tokenization standpoint is very interesting. The, again, back office and how all of that is handled as well. And there's still a ton of opportunity throughout real estate. I mean, we looked at, you know, jumping out of blockchain, we look at AR, VR and how that played a role in this really big, huge real estate boom we had here in 2020. And platforms like Redfin and Zillow and others that, I mean, saw huge gains and amount of transactions happen because they implemented these technologies for consumers to be able to integrate or feel like they were in their home, place furniture and stuff like that, which led again to these double digits. I mean, seeing a 10.5% growth in August alone, according to CNBC, I mean, that's a huge, huge leap just here in the United States. And, you know, Latin America, from other guests we've had on here too, Bruno, I mean, we've been talking about the rising middle class and how much things are changing throughout all of Latin America. I mean, it's incredible to see where that's going. And when you get it back into construction, property, and real estate, with all of this here, we talked a lot about this on yesterday's episode of the convergence, right? All of these technologies are starting to come together and work together because you've got technology, but you've got data. So now you can see how people are moving, how they're not moving, what they like, what they don't like, right? They turn their AC on, do they turn their heat on? But all jokes aside, Bruno, what are you seeing as areas of opportunity in Latin America that that investors should be paying attention to if they're looking to start making bets in the space?
Great. Well, in Latin America, we have an ambiguous real estate market. At the same time, we have luxurious projects, billion-dollar projects. Sometimes few meters from this project, we have the opposite. We have we have a house in a situation not appropriated to raise a family. So we have a big social problem here, that is the housing gap. We have a housing gap of 8 million houses in demand and not accomplished here. So we have to fill this gap with more productivity in this industry, combining technology, combining data. So everything around this problem is a great opportunity for investors. So we are paying attention to business, trying to industrialize the construction project. So basically, we want to invest in modular construction companies, 3D printing companies, all kinds of technology and business models who can promote more productivity around social housing. So for Latin America, for sure, this is a great opportunity for investors. We are also looking for the middle class opportunities. So we are here in big cities such as São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Belo Horizonte. We are observing a change in the behavior of the consumer. We have new generations coming to the market, generations trying to experiment new ways to use a house. So we have generations who don't want to buy a house; they want to rent a house as a service. So the real estate as a service market in Latin America is growing fast. So we have all the combinations, of course, of real estate as a service. We have senior living, we have student living, we have the co-living, and all the kinds of real estate as a service providers. So we have seen great startups coming with innovative ideas and business focused basically on middle class. We also have great companies in a space we call real estate fintech. So basically, the decrease in the public interest rate are making possible some kind of business focus on the financial side of the real estate market in Brazil and Latin America. So many traditional and or startups companies are trying to disrupt this kind of traditional market. Especially here in Brazil, we have the financial market very concentrated in few financial institutions. So have many opportunities to fragment this huge market and try to increase the value generated for the final consumer. So real estate fintech is another great opportunity for the investors and entrepreneurs. And we also want to pay attention for all the kinds of software trying to facilitate the way traditional companies, incumbent companies, can make their business more digital. So all kinds of solutions to digitalize the administrative construction process, all the activities around the developer, property management, and brokerage companies. We are trying to identify as a great opportunity because mostly of them are software as a service business model. So you have a more predictable revenue, you have a more stable kind of business. Is especially in this kind of opportunity in Brazil. I think we are in the beginning of a new cycle. So we had maybe during the last 2 decades the digitalization of traditional ERP, enterprise resource and planning software. Now we are living in a moment where the companies, the traditional companies, are looking for very specific solutions for very specific problems. So many startups are starting with this kind of approach. I want to be the best in a very specific solution for a very specific market. So I think for investors are a great opportunity to observe this kind of movements as well.
Wonderful. And Arina, to you, where are you seeing gaps and opportunities, whether that be in blockchain, whether that be in kind of clean tech, environmental tech, or even space tech, as well, for entrepreneurs and investors to start paying attention to when it comes to these 3 areas?
Great question. Gap in opportunities. I think we're just gapping all over in all the opportunities. In all of those industries, it's amazing that we're finally seeing things that are just kind of have been kind of working for us, but they're not working for us anymore so well. So efficiency and effectiveness is is no longer part of our life. We want to be more effective, more efficient, and I think that one of the big gaps that I'm seeing is, and that's probably related to US more, but kind of a small solutions for families to own their homes, right? Ability to maybe through some kind of a smart contract earn at least smaller type of a properties, right? We are experiencing a huge gap, which a lot of you might know about, but it's called Zoomers, right? So if you are fortunate enough to be able to do your job via Zoom and have the meetings, and your career is growing via that, the world is abundant of opportunities right now, and these opportunities are all over the place. And but there's those people that do not have ability, or are not maybe ready, or do not have that, especially construction workers and others, and just the service industry, right? So there's a lot of misplacement that's happening in the world for those that are non-Zoomers, and their worlds are collapsing because now, the rental situation is kind of really going out of control, right? So we're seeing a lot of people basically who did not pay the rent, and were not available to be evicted. Now they're becoming evicted, right? And so, where do they go? Where do, how do they settle? And how do we use this shift that we're experiencing as an opportunities for them? I think is one of the better questions that we must ask. And I really believe that a smart contract could be an interesting way of rent to own it, and because you can create whatever logics you can make into the business contract to where it's just self-executing, right? To where you do not have to have all that management. And then what it does, I believe, is that allows people to then say, I want this, I will be here, I will rent, and I will make my payments, because now a lot of people are just not making payments. When they announce you don't have to pay rent, I was seeing a huge push of people that can afford to pay rent were like, I'm not doing it, and so, but who is paying for that real estate? Who's taking care of it? So I think that that's a big opportunity, and I believe that we will see a lot of that coming into the crypto bull market, because I think that the first thing that we're going to want to attach to crypto is the real estate, and the smart contract just makes perfect sense, right? Because it allows you to eliminate a lot of very expensive costs of attorneys. Proppy does a great job. It's a San Francisco. Do you know Proppy? Yeah. So they're doing a great job, and if you're watching them constantly, they announce new partnership. And so now people are becoming comfortable with seeing that, oh, this is an interesting application. So I think that that's kind of the biggest gap that we're seeing, is that, the misplacement of people and giving them back opportunities to really own, because it is outside of scope of reality for most of the people.
Absolutely. And guys, we are coming up to the lightning round here. So I do want to come to you each for your closing thoughts and any other areas of opportunity you may think, and then where can everyone find you? So Bruno, let's start with you. What closing thoughts would you have? And then also, where can everyone find you online to continue the conversation going forward?
Well, great. I think it's great to be connected with everybody interested in innovation for construction and real estate markets. So anyone can reach me out through LinkedIn, Instagram, or any kind of social media. I mean all of those social media platforms. And I think this is a good way to be engaged in connection with entrepreneurs, with investors. I've seen the same movement here in Brazil, and basically the development of the ecosystem, the startup ecosystem here, is started through this kind of interaction, social interaction, digital interactions, and then expanded to the physical events and more sophisticated kinds of relationship. So basically, I think everybody can be connected with great entrepreneurs. You only have to send a message. You only have to keep in touch. You must follow all the content platforms, all the influencers who are talking about these topics, and that's very important to understand what kind of trend is happening in your market, but maybe in other markets you can be inspired by. So I think here is a great opportunity to understand more about the venture capital markets and all the subjects around venture capital opportunities for investors and for entrepreneurs. And again, you can send me an email, you can access our website terracota.ventures. So I'm open to share ideas. I'm open to talking about what you are looking for and understand how we can explore our synergies.
Wonderful. And thank you so much, Bruno, for joining today. Everyone out there, definitely check out Terracotta Ventures. Irina, to you, closing thoughts, and where can everyone find you online to continue the conversation, especially if they're looking to build in the blockchain space and want to get your opinion as well?
Absolutely. LinkedIn message works the best. I guess Twitter too. I do Twitter sometimes, and a lot of friends are there as well. But Google Irina Litchfield and you can get hold of me on any platform. Probably not a Telegram because it's just really crowded, but hey, if that's your tune and you're, really Telegram person, I'll unbury the message eventually. I try to be responsive to all of them, make sure you indicate what you're contacting about, remember blockchain integration. So if you want to integrate blockchain and you want to be done by, world's leading experts, we can help you with that. That's that. And then of course the volume area, if you're a scaling company, for now, we're working with scaling companies. So, $5 million plus, I need to see either revenue or traction. I need to see that you have a product. I need to see that you need money for scaling, right? So get hold of me because we together need to change the way we do, we do business and we bring funding. Bringing liquidity to venture capital is important. 10-year is too much. It's too much. You lock up money. Early stage VCs should not be having their money locked up that long, right? And just as a note, have you guys noticed how many early stage VCs are outreaching? They're out there inspiring. They are the boosting power behind entrepreneurship. And the bigger the round gets, the tighter they become, and they just hide in their holes and they don't want to share deals, okay? That has to be stopped. We need to have the spirit of early stage investors to go through all the way to a liquidity for entrepreneurs. And so it's the early stage investors that I am empowered by, because I think they're such a great leaders and they're true angels of what entrepreneurship is, and they bring huge value to the world. And keep on building, keep on innovating, and keep on integrating. Integration of innovations is the key. So whatever you're doing in your vertical, see what other industries can actually create solutions for you, and you will be surprised how much integration there will be. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. Really appreciate your time today, sharing your thoughts and insights around construction, property, and real estate technology, as we know so much is happening in this space. To you, our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, click subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Do reach out if you'd like to be on a show like today. We'd love to find the right spot for you. Thank you, Irina. And also entrepreneurs, again, do reach out. This is a great opportunity for you to pitch us here as investors, along with our entire live audience. With that, a big thank you to the entire LATOKEN team for making VCTV possible. As I mentioned, we've got double packed episodes every single day here on VCTV. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back with you just to talk about a little bit more around this industry, but now leaning towards the data side of things. So we'll be back to talk about machine learning and where things are going throughout that technology and industry as a whole. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me everywhere online at Kyle Ellicott, and we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you.